So, update and sorry about that, disconnected there for a second. Update on Upside Equity and Midwest Automotive Partners. Feels like it's dragging on both ends. So, Midwest Automotive Partners has submitted to sign for a second lease. We are waiting on the return acceptance of that lease on the second property, which will be designated primarily as our retail facility. So that'll speed up our retail side of it faster than we thought, as we were primarily focusing on wholesale to franchise dealerships. Upside Equity, we went ahead and redid the PPM. That's PPM, by the way. I've used this before. I feel like I've defined it. You may have heard it before, but PPM is just Private Placement Memorandum. So it is a document that outlines all of the particulars as far as all the parties involved, the costs involved, liabilities, and what people's responsibilities are and what the expectations are, and that kind of thing. And then we file with the SOS and the SEC so that it can be properly filed and documented so that we can legally raise quite in excess of the $550,000 at this point. We went ahead and put it up to a $10 million raise so that we can do $10 million annually, rolling equity fund, and do multiple projects versus just the one project that we had in the original PPM. So that's taking a while to revamp. As you can imagine, that would be more of a change in the contract. So, in a holding pattern on both of these, and that can be very frustrating. And so that brings me to my topic of the day, which is, what do we do when we are in holding patterns? Well, to me, it's always been, you do everything that you can do up until the point that you can't do anymore. So always go to the furthest level that you possibly can in any engagement, and then be ready to execute when the new opportunities come up. And so at this point, I've been waiting on both ends of those while doing everything that I can to have everything as ready as possible to pull the trigger on, execute on, begin contracts with suppliers, vendors, etc., as soon as we are able to move forward in regards to MAC. As far as Upside Equity, I have had the conversation with people. People are now at the point where they have been waiting on me for 30 to 60 days on being able to review this PPM so that they can go beyond the verbal commitment and actually sign and agree contractually to the investment, and then we can move forward on developing out the property. So I have done that. I am doing that in any way that I can. I will say that the best way to keep things in order is, one, when you do have downtime, get really clear with what the objectives are once things start, and then moving forward, and for how long you see yourself committing to certain things or achieving certain levels. So basically putting goals down, putting them on paper, and getting really clear about what the future looks like for your business or whatever objective or goal that you have. And keep these with you for whatever timeline you set. Could be, indefinitely. You want to have some principles, some wisdoms to read that bring you back to a certain mental state of mind or foundation of thinking, so that you can continue to operate with that perception and that mental state within your business. Or they can be things like, in 60 days, I want to hit X amount of dollars. In 90 days, I want to have X amount of accounts. In 120 days, I want to, expense XYZ, whatever that may be. But having those things written down before you get into that engagement is extremely powerful. Not that those things won't change, but because they are in your mind and you have them on paper and you're following them every day, they become very clear. It's kind of like my current journey with weight loss. I was up at 230. I'm now down to 206 pounds over the last month and a half or so since I started focusing on my calorie intake and really focusing on my calorie intake. There is a beautiful thing called Cal AI, which is an Apple app. That tracks your calories. So instead of you having to measure everything and do all these things, not that I don't do measuring, but you can take a picture of food and it will calculate it for you. So that having that in my mind every day, and then having that total set limit of calories for every day has been exponential in the impact and effectiveness of my actual diet and my fitness plan to get the results that I want. It's actually speed tracked it up several months, and that's been great. And so with that said, tracking your expectations is extremely important. And when you have time to track it, and it's important to make time for it, sometimes it's very hard take the time, not make the time, because you only have a certain amount of time. You've got to take the time. You don't make time. You just take the time. And so taking the time to sit down, see where you're at, and then put something in place where you want to go. And you don't have to do this long term. It doesn't have to be 6 months, 120 days. It doesn't have to be, 6 years. It doesn't have to be 10 years, 15 years. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It can be 3 days from now. What do I want to do in the next 3 days? And then every 3 days you reset, and then maybe you make it a week, and then you make it a month, whatever that is. But having those things on paper, tracking those things will keep you in a mental state that focuses on doing those things. And so when your perception is in such a way that you need to achieve something by a certain timeline, you will be more apt to take action relative to those timelines, which even if you fall short, you're going to be a lot farther than if you just say, I'll get to that. And it's just in your mind and you get to it whenever. Having that structured strategy and timeline and clear, descriptions of what it is exactly that you want to do. Again, it may not look the same as you go through it and take the actions, but at least the thought will be there. It will remind you, and it will keep you on pace better than if you just shotgun it. So again, stay on track, set your goals, even if they're micro goals. It could be a day, 2 days, whatever, 5 months, 6 months, 10 years, whatever it is. Put those things down. Keep them with you all the time. Again, I'm old school, I guess. I'm a big paper guy. I think if I have it in my hand, it's more permanent than if it's on a computer. So I back things up to the computer, but I like to print things off and have them in my hand. It makes it very real for me. So that's what I do. I keep them in my bag, or I keep them in my pocket, and then I just look at them and review them for a few minutes every single day and make sure that I am on track and with my actions, as well as if the plan is still on track. And I still want to do those things, and it aligns with what the overall objective is. All right, guys, have a great day. I'll keep you posted. Off. That lease will get signed.